When ghost hunters die, do they become ghost hunting ghosts? Are video games made by aliens? Because every time I sit down and play, I experience missing time. All of these questions you can find the answer to on this Paranormal Life! Hello everyone and welcome back to This Paranormal Life, the comedy paranormal podcast where every week we investigate a brand new paranormal tale, case, claim, or beast and come to a conclusion to decide at the end whether it truly is paranormal. As always, my name is Rory Powers, and I am joined, as always, by my co-investigator, Kit Greer-Mulvenna. Whoa! Jesus, sorry, buddy.
Coming a little hot there. I'm a little thirsty.
That's a weird noise to make if you're thirsty.
Thirsty.
You screamed like a ghoul.
Oh, the first noise?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
The scream?
Yeah, what'd I do? Like thirsty.
No, the other one. The ah. Yeah, okay. There's water in front of you too, by the way.
I'm not really into that. Too clear for my liking.
Okay.
Got anything red?
Yeah, that's what I was worried about. Kid, are you excited to dive into a brand new paranormal tale today?
Of course, Rory. Absolutely. It's like, for me, the paranormal is like a shot of espresso in the morning. That's what gets me up and going. I don't know if that's what Sabrina Carpenter's espresso is about. I assume it's about hunting ghouls.
It's about Nosferatu.
Yeah. Is that the bridge? She spells it out N-O-S. I don't know. But that gets me up and going in the morning.
Yeah, as Nosferatu always says, I'm working late because that's my daytime. I sleep all day because sunlight kills me.
I went to hell because I'm a sinner.
Nice, dude. Well, you'll be happy to know, Kit, that today we have an extra exciting special episode just for our listeners. As you know, over here at the TPL headquarters, we love video games. Before I started this podcast, I actually used to work in the video games industry. And I gotta say, as a professional paranormal investigator, there is one game that speaks to me more than any other. And that is Phasmophobia. For those who don't know, Phasmophobia is a video game where you literally play as a paranormal investigator.
Okay.
It simulates the lifestyle. It simulates the fear.
Which is a pretty, rare niche. Me and you have been playing video games almost our whole entire lives. But rarely is paranormal investigation depicted. Arguably only before Phasmophobia in Luigi's Mansion.
Right, where he sucks up ghosts with a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
I mean, what it sounds like is finally, we stopped playing as video game characters and they made a video game character about us.
Yeah. Okay,
They
that's a
flipped
cool
it.
way of looking at it.
Exactly. This is basically This Paranormal Life, the game.
Whoa, so you're saying, did we get cut a check? Kind of like I'm Tony Hawk in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater?
Absolutely not, because they're not
Really?
using your face or likeness or
They're not
anything
using my face.
like that. Yeah.
Well, that seems like a missed opportunity.
Now, I know what you're thinking. A game where you play as a professional paranormal investigator? Does that mean that you are controlling a recently divorced alcoholic whose parents once ditched them in the woods after a family picnic because they said that you were quote-unquote unlovable?
I was going to say, I don't know if you going from the video games industry to the paranormal industry was a step up. At best, it was a step to the side.
It's a step down into hell, brother, because that's where they live, the demons and ghosts, all right? In Phasmophobia, you get to investigate haunted locations and use real ghost hunting equipment to track and defeat different spirits. You get to use EMF readers, a spirit box, real actual equipment that we've used in real life.
Yeah, I mean, it is disturbing to think that the kind of death-defying, horrifying situations that me or you would find ourselves in just during a standard day at the office would be a game to somebody.
Yeah.
But I guess it does sound pretty fun on paper.
It's kind of crazy to see when you're playing the game, like someone holding the EMF reader, and it is literally the exact same one that we use in our investigations.
That's fun.
It's really cool. I mean, I've actually played this game for a long time, partially for fun, partially so that I'm not quite as scared of ghosts when we go out into the real world. You know how they like simulate flight for astronauts and things like that?
Yeah, because apparently those flight simulators are like legit. Like if you can fly the fight simulator, flight simulator, you could basically pilot a 747.
Right, it's the same thing. That's why I call this game the Fright Simulator. All right?
Oh, hey.
So if you can make it through it without cowering in fear, it means you're you're probably able to be a paranormal investigator in real life. Well, as I said, I actually have played this game a lot before. So imagine how excited I was when I discovered that not only do they know that this podcast exists, but they wanted to work with us for this podcast to talk about the awesome paranormal Easter eggs inside of the game and their exciting new Easter event. Because one of the coolest parts about this game is that many of the ghosts and paranormal entities that you hunt are actually based on real legends of real ghosts and spirits from folklore across the world.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, they're basing the in-game spirits, ghouls on real life things, because I'm glad you're saying this, because this sounds very exciting, but of course in every episode of TPL, we gotta actually solve something.
Yeah, exactly. We have to reach our conclusion at the end, and that is also what we're going to do today. This episode is going to be a collaboration with Phasmophobia, and we are going to investigate 5 of the ghosts from that game back to back, and at the end, pick the one that we think is most likely to be real.
Okay, sounds good.
So the fact that we're coming at you with 5 different ghosts and 5 stories today, that increases the odds of walking away with a double yes.
We're probably going to see half a photograph if there's 5 ghosts involved, just by sheer odds.
So without further ado, let's dive into today's episode. First on our list, we're going all the way to Japan to investigate a spirit known as the Onryo.
Is that just a Scottish person saying unreal?
Onryo? Kinda does sound like it.
This one's absolutely unreal.
In Japanese folklore, the Onryo are known as the worst kind of spirit, a vengeful one. To make matters worse, these ghosts aren't like our cliche see-through spirits that can't interact with the human world. These ghosts could come back from the world of the dead and drop a motherfucker.
What? Sorry, what?
Sorry, I got a little blinded there. They can interact with they can interact with humans.
You're not in like Rush Hour 4, mate. What are you talking about?
They can interact with humans. It's not like they're gonna pass through you and float through walls.
So they can knock.
They can turn up and drop a motherfucker. They can, you know,
you got weirdly close to my face there.
You gotta dodge them. And these guys come at you. In one story from the Izumo province, a young samurai was sitting beside his dying wife, comforting her during her final moments on Earth. My dearest love, my life ends with yours. I will carry your existence in my heart for eternity, until we can rest together in whatever lies beyond this life.
So, when I'm gone, you won't remarry?
Well, shit, why would you even ask that? You are my love.
I just want to hear you say it.
Feel like I don't have to, though. Feel like because it's such an obvious thing, I feel like it doesn't need to be said.
No, sure, just promise me you won't remarry.
I promise. I will miss you so much when you're gone.
That doesn't count.
All right, I promise I will never remarry. And with that, his beautiful wife passed away. Not long after, the samurai remarried.
Man, am I right, guys?
Thinking that his first wife was gone forever. But fueled by raw anger and disgust, she rose from the grave in the form of a ghostly Onryo. She tracked down her husband's new wife and with a vengeful cry, ripped her head off.
Whoa.
Dropped a I'm telling you, they can do it. A nearby watchman saw the events unfold before him, and without hesitation, he chased down the spirit, slashing it with his sword while reciting a Buddhist prayer. He slashed the spirit in two, destroying the woman's ghostly form.
Wow, it worked.
It worked. I like hitting him with that 1-2 combo. It's like praying while the sword is coming down. That's a pretty cool move.
Yeah. It's kind of like when you open up the dishwasher and the glasses are still dirty. You're like, pop it in again. I'll use a different dishwasher tablet this time. It's like, just in case we didn't get it the first time, let's just try this again, do it the second time. This time with the prayer, and okay, it worked that time.
Right, throw a bunch of stuff at it, see what happens. I kind of like that. I might start, incorporating that to my own fighting style. So when I'm like throwing a punch or something, like if I'm at a bar and someone kind of bumps into me, And they're like, hey, watch where you're going, pal. And I'll be like, looking down, and I'll be like, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. And I'll go, turn around and take a swing.
You can't say forgive me before you've sinned.
I think you can.
Or as you
I think you can.
The power of Christ compels me.
Lead us onto temptation, but deliver us from evil. I roundhouse kick him in the back of the head.
He catches your foot, slams you through a table. Oh!
Yeah, he blocked it so easily. The prayer was so loud. I knew you were going to attack me because you were already asking for forgiveness.
If you're in a crowd of people at all, you hear someone praying, just get out of there. Just get out of there.
Under my breath, he just hears, forgive me, Father, because I'm about to drop this mother.
I'm about to drop a mother. Hey, there was a lot going on there in that quick story.
Yes. We got to move fast today.
Not to be sure.
Also, stop swearing.
Stop
swearing because this episode is sponsored and it's in collaboration with Phasmo, and I want them to take us seriously as paranormal investigators. So stop swearing. Clean it up.
Swearing.
All right.
You're the one who keeps saying drop an for.
Don't say it again.
You're the one who keeps saying that.
I said it a couple
catchphrase.
Don't swear. I'm so sorry. We're gonna have to find a way around this. Because look,
You're the one who's transformed into Samuel L. Jackson in this episode.
I'm doing it in the story because it's a performance. It's taken out of context. So if I need to say like that he came back and ripped off her head,
way more swearing than they've ever had,
then I can do it because it's a part of the story. But we need to bring a sense of professionalism to the case. So let's just try and keep it clean.
What I was trying to ask was, do you think, because the whole point was he remarried too quick, invoking her wrath, is there an amount of time he should have left it before downloading Ancient Bumble? But where if he had left it like 9 months, where she would have been like, this is too soon, but all right, well, yeah, I mean, I guess some people in order to, or if he had left it, 2 years or so, or if it was within the 9 months, and she's like, well, in fairness, they met at the post office in the queue. He wasn't even really going out of his way. They just kind of, hit it off. And who am I to, maybe there was I'm assuming he did this on like day 4.
Yeah, pretty quickly.
Right.
I mean, I probably, if you had any intention to remarry, I wouldn't promise your dying wife you won't. I would kind of just string out that conversation for long enough that she kind of passes away mid-discussion, Just keep saying you need bathroom breaks.
You would run out the clock, NBA style, just holding onto the ball, dribbling. She's trying to get it off you. You're passing.
Just promise me that you won't remarry. That I won't. What? Sorry, I need to. Actually, wait, hold on. Sorry, I'm getting a phone call. I'm getting a Raven real quick. I forgot how old it is. Yeah, I'll be back in 1 second. And what's really cool is that this is just one of the oldest stories about Onryo. What's interesting is that belief in this type of spirit exists still today. In fact, right by Tokyo Station, you can visit the head mount of Taira no Masakado, a sacred shrine that's been in the city ever since the Edo period. However, due to city redevelopment projects, the shrine has been threatened a number of times over the years, which turned out to be a big mistake. Each attempt resulted in a string of suspicious deaths, ranging from construction workers to ministry officials. And we're talking about a lot of people here. At one point, a nearby building that threatened the shrine was struck by a lightning bolt and burned to the ground. To this day, many believe it's the wrath of Masakado returning in Onryo form.
Right. Okay.
Again, a vengeful spirit returning to the world of the living to drop a mother.
Are all the swearing again as well?
I'm just getting it out of my system.
Are all the spirits today gonna drop MFers?
No, some of them are a lot more peaceful. Okay. Some of them just do some other nasty shit or don't really interact with humans. This is very specific to this
trying to are you trying to prime us for a merch drop? Like at the end of the episode, you're going to be like, and the hashtag dropping MFer shirts are live right now on our merch store.
Of course, Kit, as you know, this is an ancient Japanese spirit, so we don't have a ton of evidence today to back up its existence, especially because we didn't have any cameras, so there's no photographs.
Yeah, well, you said it's still kicking about today in modern Japan or something.
In the form of lightning bolts. I don't know if that'll prove its existence to you, but what I can show you is how the spirit is depicted in the game Phasmophobia, which is really cool. Now, it is worth noting that the ghost models in the game are random, so this is just one of the forms that an Onryo can take in Phasmophobia.
Oh, what? Ah! Oh, dear.
Yeah, you don't want to get on the wrong side of this vengeful spirit.
Yeah. Normally, the thing about being a ghost is you get kind of, locked in time at the way you died.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you died at 45 years old, you would be locked in time as a 45-year-old.
Yeah.
Passage of time kept on ticking for the Onryo, I will say.
It looks like this ghost died at 45 miles per hour. This thing is obliterated.
Yeah. This is a pretty inhuman monster.
Yes.
Laid before me.
I will say, judging by the expression, this thing's got some vengefulness in it.
Yeah.
It's looking vengeful.
I will give it to you. It looks ready to drop a mother. It's literally like arms almost like cocked, ready to. Yeah.
It's like puffed up its chest a bit. Yeah. Yeah, this thing is truly horrific.
I think if this ghost were British, it would have just said, "What you say, mate?
Yeah, you want some?
You what, mate?
You want some?" Another little fun fact: the ghosts in both The Ring and The Grudge are classified as Onryo.
Oh, that is cool.
There you go.
Trivia. There you go. Very, very famous indeed.
Because of course, those are both Japanese films with very vengeful spirits who were wronged on Earth.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
So that is our first ghost of the day. Lock that one away. Keep it in your brain.
Yeah. Hard to forget.
That could be.
So don't worry about that.
That could be the double yes. We don't know.
We don't know.
It's time to move on to our next ghost from Phasmophobia that we're investigating. It hails all the way from Belgium.
Okay. Whoa. Cultural whiplash. Let's go.
Exactly. It's time to investigate a freaky little spirit known as the Deogen. Let me tell you, this little guy is weird. According to the book, and I might butcher the pronunciation of this because my German is a little rough, Die Kinderen van het Bezettenbos, or The Children of the Haunted Forest, published in 1937. The legend of the Deogen started when a group of Belgian nuns began to discover bodies sprawled all over the nearby woods. In the coming weeks, more and more bodies were turning up, with no explanation of how they got there. But locals knew exactly what the cause was: the Deogen. Now, unlike traditional ghosts, it's described as an oddly colored green fog that rolls in through the forest. Those unlucky enough to encounter a Deogen have described seeing shadowy figures darting back and forth in the green haze, accompanied by the sound of children's laughter.
Imagine moving to a neighborhood and you're unboxing all your stuff with your sweetheart. Wow, this place was such a steal. The rent is so cheap. Isn't this so awesome? You're talking to your neighbor like, hey, welcome to the neighborhood. Great to have you. Oh. Well, you're gonna love it here. You're just gonna love it. There's a park around the corner. Oh, we saw that. That was so cute. Yeah, it's great. I love the cafe around the corner. They do great brunch. One downside is the Deogen. Huh? Yeah, you're gonna see some bodies. Yeah, the rent was cheap, wasn't it? Yeah, the rent's cheap here on account of the Deogen.
We heard some children giggling. Is there a school nearby? Because we're actually gonna have a couple kids here and let them kind of wander about in the forest. Does that sound like a good idea, sir?
Oh, my sweet summer child. Have you unpacked yet? Okay, it's too late. Yeah, the Deogen is a big problem. Yeah. It's one of those times you realize it way too late. There's a reason. There's a reason the rent's cheap.
Yeah, and it's because green fog is abducting humans in the forest.
I'm just saying, if I were one of the nuns or one of the people here, I would be, I think, one body that comes as a result of the green mist, and I would probably be looking at relocating.
Yeah, I'd be looking at a new religion, one that worships the green mist.
Just to get on the right side of the thing.
Because God's pretty powerful, but that dude's been gone for a long time. The green mist is here, and it's taking souls now.
Yeah, we're pretty patient for the second coming because things are kind of okay on Earth. It doesn't feel that urgent.
Yeah.
Kind of week to week. But if there was an unholy green mist consuming the children, I would be like, all right, Jesus, come on.
Gotta step it up here, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't know if you're planning on coming back anytime soon, but the devil's here now. He beat you here, buddy.
Yeah, he's captured the flag in Capture the Flag.
It is also funny, this idea of a children's laughter kind of echoing from the darkness. Because, I'm not a father, so children's laughter is about the scariest thing I can imagine to encounter on a daily basis.
Right.
There is no reason at all why there should be a child in my vicinity at any point.
We should this should be a thing we do in kind of areas that are getting gentrified. Like, let's say here in London, is a bit like those videos online where people will say, BRB just keeping the rent low in my neighborhood, and they just like fire off a couple shots from the 9mm Glock. Just gunshots just to keep the rent cheap. We could be doing that with children's laughter. Just get a big old speaker at night and just...
Oh, yeah. Pump it through like an ice cream truck or something.
Yeah, a little bit of a jingle. Dun, 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 dun. Maybe the TPL theme.
That's the TPL theme, yeah.
That'll keep the rent low, all right.
Some witnesses even describe, quote, something huge staring at them from within the fog, which is the explanation behind the name Deogen, which I believe is Dutch for the eyes.
Oh, I thought Dio was going to be like God in Italian or something.
Maybe it's like Deogen.
Oh, okay.
Like Deogen, the eyes, I guess. I actually do have an artist illustration of what this creature looks like. Because obviously it exists in a very different form in Phasmophobia, because you can't really fight just a green mist and ghost children. So here is an idea of what this beast looks like in the real world.
What? Oh, less of that, please.
You gotta describe what you're seeing.
No.
You can't just say all.
Not pleased with that. This is like a sleep paralysis demon. It's basically, like Roy said, a little freaky guy made of clouds with horrible little eyes. And he apparently has a little army of children beasts.
Yeah.
In the woods behind him.
There are, I believe this is also a part of his lore, behind him in the woods are just piles of dead bodies on fire.
Oh, I didn't even notice the fire. I was so distracted by the demon. I didn't even notice all the flaming bodies. Wow, there's a lot going on in this image. Bloody hell.
There really is. There really is. This one is a creepy one. I do not like it. Interestingly, if you read about the Deogen in your paranormal investigator's journal, in Phasmophobia the game, it says, quote, sometimes surrounded by an endless fog, the Deogen have been eluding ghost hunters for years. Which is great. That's like a cute little nod to the origin of the creatures, mentioning the endless fog that surrounds them.
Yeah. I mean, I quite like the theory. It's a totally different form for a paranormal entity to take.
Yeah. Still quite ghostly and spiritual, but just taking the shape with fog.
And do they drop a mother?
I don't think they do, and you gotta stop swearing, buddy, because I said
all right, so it's
the sponsorship
whenever
is
I
on...
do it, it's a problem. Whenever you do it, it's all kosher.
This whole deal is like on the edge of collapse. Like it's a miracle that it even got to this point.
It's barely even begun.
So it's just, well, it isn't going well because we were swearing a lot too much, and I think this is supposed to be like a fun collaboration.
A lot too much.
Yeah, we're
stressed.
I am a little stressed, okay?
Stop drinking Monster Energy.
We're only on ghost number 2, and we've sworn more than 2 times, and that's more than I was allowed.
One swear.
That's more than I agreed to in the briefing. So let's just keep it clean and keep it family friendly, huh? So if you're asking whether or not this ghost could come back and bonk somebody on the head, the answer is no. The answer is no.
All right, let's move on.
Okay, well, there you go. There is ghost number 2, the Deogen. Lock it away. We are moving on. Our next ghost from Phasmophobia is actually a familiar one. Or at least a semi-familiar one. I've been excited to talk about this one since we started.
Okay.
We are talking about the Scandinavian creature known as the Mare.
Oh, wait, what?
That's right. This is a mythological cryptid that visits people in their sleep and sits on top of them, creating a sensation of suffocation and paralysis. Kit, is this starting to sound familiar to you?
It is. I embarrassingly needed my memory jogged, but you're right, it is coming back to me.
Yeah. This may sound familiar to a creature we investigated on the podcast kind of recently, known as the Alp.
Yeah.
The little imp guy that wanders into your room and sits on your chest and for some reason kind of bites his thumb.
Okay, the mayor. Interesting. Well, I know back home where we were raised, probably in the rest of Britain, I don't know. You would talk about a mare is short for having a nightmare. It's like, how's your day going? I'm having a flipping mare.
Yes. Yeah, this is
Maybe
all
appreciate
linked.
there that I didn't swear. So,
that was nice.
It just means you're having a terrible time, which is not dissimilar to what's happening here.
Yeah, I'd actually just watch it with the flips as well. Flipping. Just because it sounds a little bit like and I'm just worried that...
Don't swear.
I'm just worried
Don't delete that. Don't swear.
I'm just worried that...
Why'd you swear?
If you say it quickly, like, it might sound like a swear word.
Can I say backflip?
That sounds a little bit too much like ball sack. So
Who talked about ball sacks?
No, I'm just saying it sounds like a swear word. So don't say any words that could be misinterpreted. They are linked, believe it or not, the Alp and the mare, because the legends say that the mare is the Alp's mother.
Oh.
Yeah.
What? So, because a mare is a female horse as well.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where the origin of the word comes from, but there is some link. The key difference, though, between the mare and the Alp is the mare actually rides the victim's chest, a move that's called mare riding.
Say what you see. Say what you see.
Now, I'm not saying that this is better than...
What do you mean rides?
I'm not allowed to swear. So I can't say exactly what I mean, but...
Don't say anything then.
Now, I'm not saying this is better than the Alp, but if I'm going to get haunted to death, mare riding sounds like the way I want to go, brother.
Okay, yeah, that's all right.
Existence of the mare dates back as early as the 13th century. In one story, King Van Landi had to leave his wife for a long journey, but before he left, he made her a promise. "My dear queen, my journey will be long, but I promise I will return in no more than 3 years. For that, you have my word." Well, 3 years came and went, and King Van Landi was nowhere to be seen. The furious queen quickly realized there was no journey, she'd just been abandoned. So she hired a Finnish sorceress named Hulda to conjure a mare, to hunt down the king and give him a ride he'd never forget. Well, that night, Van Landi went to sleep, and lo and behold, he was paralyzed. He screamed for his men to help, and when they arrived, he simply cried out, "A nightmare is riding me!" When the men shielded his chest, the mare began stamping on his legs, bringing them to the point of breaking. When the men shielded his legs, the mare moved up to his head, stomping down on it and popping it like a watermelon.
Jesus.
Killing him instantly.
Wow.
Pretty crazy stuff, right? Like, I think the Alp, who is the son of the mare, that little guy just kind of like messed with your dreams a little. He kind of sat on your chest, took a nap like a cat, and maybe you had a dream that night that you went to school with no clothes on. The mayor just killed a guy. The mayor just committed a homicide.
It curb stomped a guy.
Like, it's like, weren't you supposed to make his dreams weird? You just dropped a motherfucker in real life. And yes, I know I'm not supposed to swear, but I'm doing it for emphasis, for the story. It's interesting to note that in other versions of the creature's lore, the mare is simply a normal woman that at night transforms into a paranormal creature, similar to a werewolf. In this case, the mare is usually depicted as a pale, spindly woman with claw-like hands. But interestingly, in Phasmophobia, the mares may actually take any appearance, including being male. It's also cool in Phasmophobia, there's a little nod to the creature's lore in the journal notes. It lists the creature's strengths and weaknesses as: strength, a mare will have an increased chance to attack in the dark, and weakness, turning on the lights around the mare will lower its chance to attack.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of these kind of sleep paralysis adjacent demons, it all hinges on them getting on your chest. You know? And that's not figurative. We're saying I don't know if they just can't, you know, they don't have much kind of jiu-jitsu ground game. I don't know if they seem to not be able to just tackle you and get you to the ground. They kind of wait until you're vulnerable, sleeping, lying down already, and then they pounce.
Yeah, so don't do that. As it says in the game, keep the lights on. Less chance of you getting sleepy, I guess, and lying down. Less chance of a mare stomping on your head. All right, Kit, we are just over halfway into our investigation. Any of these creatures taking the lead for you right off the bat?
And I've stopped swearing. You haven't.
I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't sworn in a really long time. Couple of sentences. That's like a record for me.
Sure.
Do you have a favorite so far?
You know, maybe right now the Onryo, but I think that could be unseated depending on where we're going.
Okay.
I feel like it's all to play for. It's wide open. And now that I come to think about it, yeah, a lot of vengeful women spirits, which is an interesting theme I wasn't expecting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in their defense, I think women were wronged quite a lot throughout history. So it makes sense that we're dealing with a lot of female ghosts today.
I don't know if exes coming back to pop your head like a watermelon is still a thing in the 21st century, but worryingly, all of my exes, and probably all of yours, are still alive.
True.
So it's kind of all to play for.
We won't know just yet until we start until I'm like 80 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm having nothing but nightmares in an old folks' home.
He's playing bingo in a hole and his head just...
A nightmare's riding me! All right, well, let's move on to the next ghost on our list.
Do it.
We are dealing with the Moroi. Now, the simple summary is that I believe Moroi translates to ghost in Romanian. But the legends of the Moroi go much deeper. In Romanian folklore, the term Moroi refers to a creature much like a vampire. It's a paranormal entity created when sinners die. And I'd say that pretty much covers everyone who listens to this podcast. So TPL fans, listen up. This is what you have in store for you in the afterlife. After death, these creatures rise from the grave to kill livestock, destroy crops, and suck energy from the living. Interesting wording there. I don't know if it's blood. Blood would make sense. It sounds like they're trying not to say that, but well, let's be honest, it's probably blood.
Yeah, I mean, we're in Romania, not a million trillion miles away from Transylvania.
Yeah, that's the whole point. I do like that these guys, they not only rise from the dead, suck energy from the living, they also just kind of f the place up a bit while they're walking around.
Yeah.
That they're just like, it's not just like living forever off the blood of the living. They're also like, let's burn that field down.
Yeah.
Let's just like...
Shake a lamppost till it breaks.
Let's push that cow over so we can't get up. That'll be
TP
funny.
a house.
Yeah, I dig it. They're just like, look, we're evil now. We might as well do some other evil shit.
Yeah.
Much like a regular vampire, the only way to deal with a Moroi is to exhume the buried body of the person they believe is the culprit, or stab their heart with something sharp. Alternatively, you can also cut out their heart, burn it, and eat it.
That last one sounds a little unnecessary. You said you could just stab it. Why do we need to get into eating it?
I guess maybe if like all the other steps don't work, you can eat the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, okay. I know you're vegan, so you might not be interested in that last one.
Yeah, it sounds like I need to. What was the first one?
Just burn the whole thing.
Yeah, I'll do that then.
Yeah.
I'm slightly disturbed. I didn't think any of them. I didn't think they even had hearts. That kind of sounds like they're just people.
I guess it depends on how recently they were buried.
Yeah. Okay.
If someone is just buried that week, and then all of a sudden someone is just tipping over cows and trashing places while everyone's sleeping, you'd be like, all right, well, it was Carl. Because everything was fine until Carl died. And now someone keeps sucking the life out of me when I go to sleep. So let's dig him up, burn his heart, and eat it. And then we'll see if Carl wants to come out and play again. Now, the scariest part is that there are real testimonies from people over the years who have claimed to see a Moroi. When talking about digging up a person suspected of being a Moroi, one resident from Romania wrote, "I had seen with my eyes when it was exhumed. One man from our village who was supposed to be a Moroi, and I saw his body twisted in the coffin, and when they stabbed his heart, a strange cry was heard. I rapidly went to church to pray as I was so afraid. But after that, all things came to normal, and the Moroi found its peace.
These are vampires, then. So,
Pretty
I mean,
much,
this is...
pretty much.
So, I mean...
It's all in the origin of the thing.
Yeah,
you know?
it takes me back to our vampire investigations, because it seems as though vampires, like a lot of paranormal cases, they are a kind of composite of probably a number of different paranormal traditions. Sounds like the Moroi is one of them.
Yes. I believe the Moroi, then there's another version of it that's even more like a vampire. You know, then we talk about the Vrikolakas, which were the Greek vampires, and then the more common ones that are associated with Dracula and popular fiction. They take a lot of forms over the years. This is not a new thing. I guess the only thing that's interesting is that all the ways of killing them are pretty common.
Yeah.
It's always pretty much poke the heart or burn and eat it. I think at one point with Vrikolakas, the Greek vampires, they were like, you can just spill a bunch of beans by the grave.
Yeah, that's right.
And when they rise from the grave, they'll be like so obsessed with counting all the beans that they'll stay there and count until the sun rises. And then be like, shit, I was counting beans all night again. And they have to go back down into the earth.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good way to deal with a paranormal enemy. I don't think you can do that in Phasmophobia. You have like a can of Heinz that you like walk around with. And if you see a vampire, you chuck baked beans all over the apartment.
Yeah, that's for British Vrikolakas.
That might be British DLC.
Yeah, I don't know if any of that would work in the 21st century. That feels like we often say in the past, not loads to do.
Yeah.
You see some beans on the ground, you're like, well, you got nothing better to do, better count them. Whereas these days, you'd have to like show them an iPad with Coco Melon on it or something, and like that would distract them long enough, or like there's looping episodes of the US Office. You know, like you'd have to just distract them in some other way.
Yeah, or if it was like My Ghost, you could probably just like throw a 20-piece McNugget meal on the floor, and even my spirit would be like, oh shit, are those nuggets?
Damn.
And I kind of go down.
21p, they gave me an extra piece. Amazing.
Oh, did it come with a sweet chili dip? Oh, was it a meal? Because if it is, I know there's fries. I know you have fries if it's a meal.
The Finnish sorceress who summoned you is like, what a useless He's done nothing. I've summoned him to kill this guy. He's not even left the graveyard. He's eating McNuggets.
I'm talking to her. I'm like, Ghost got a drink. Ghost got a drink. They get thirsty. And if it's a meal, I know it came with at least a soda or an apple juice.
Ghost got a drink. What an annoying ghost.
Ghost got a drink, huh? It's like, no, you don't. It's one of the few things about you,
you don't
that you
have a
don't.
stomach anymore.
Each nut, you keep picking up a nugget you put in your mouth and it dropped right through you. It's the same nugget every time. So that is ghost number 4 on today's list, the Moroi. Think about it. Compare it to the others.
Yep.
But quickly, we are moving on to our final paranormal creature from Phasmophobia. And interestingly enough, Kit, this is actually one that we have investigated before.
Okay.
It's a crowd favorite, and honestly, couldn't be more fitting given the time of year. To celebrate Easter, the game just introduced the Jackalope.
Okay.
That's right. I knew you'd be back in.
Not what I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but it's not what I was expecting.
Yeah. I mean, because we investigated the Jackalope, I would say in the last 100 episodes, probably, of the podcast.
Give or take.
But it was your case.
Yeah.
You brought it to the table.
Yeah. I think you hated every second of it.
No,
I think
don't
you did.
know about that. I
think you got really
that.
annoyed at me for several elements of the story, but I was all on board.
Was it a double no? Maybe. I don't remember.
Sure.
The passage of time can change any conclusion.
I think probably for obvious reasons that the Jackalope, we're going to see that it is a death-defying force to be reckoned with in the paranormal world. But sure, when I was trying to sell it to Rory, is it a bunny rabbit with horns?
With antlers duct taped to the sides.
Not duct tape, all right? Probably growing out in a grotesque, disgusting fashion.
For those who don't know, if you haven't listened to that episode, the jackalope is a mythical creature from North American folklore that resembles a jackrabbit with antelope horns.
Yeah.
Hence the name jackalope. As I said, kind of making it the perfect Easter cryptid.
Yeah.
Alongside the Bunny Man, this is pretty much the closest we get to an Easter Bunny paranormal case.
Yeah. I don't want to eat the eggs that this thing's producing, let me tell you that. I do not want to see those.
No, because I assume it ain't going to be chocolate or a real egg. Legends of this creature started when 2 hunters from Wyoming started selling taxidermied jackalopes, claiming it wasn't simply 2 animals mashed together, but one paranormal creature.
Yes. I forgot this. They were making a lot of money selling these things, and they were like hanging in like restaurants and homes around the nation.
Yeah. Needless to say, stories about the jackalope and its abilities spread like wildfire. Some say they can run at up to 60 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Others claim the animal is capable of deploying camouflage that essentially renders itself invisible. And others say the creature is so good at imitating the sounds of other animals, it's even been known to imitate humans.
Oh, whoa.
I don't know if you covered that in your episode. Maybe that was a little too weird. You were like, he's not even going to buy the thing exists.
You know what? I do remember this because I think this is the moment I lost you. Because I think I took it a step further because I remember the jackalope is also known to sing.
He is known to sing. He's got pipes
to sing.
Yes, cowboys around the campfire have claimed that while performing old-timey cowboy songs, someone in the forest will start harmonizing with them. And they discover it's a rabbit with horns.
Such a strange twist in the tale. But hey, is it so crazy? We have animals here on Earth that can sing, that can they sing? Maybe not.
No, I don't think so.
No, we do. The lyrebird.
It sounds like
the L-Y-R-E.
Is the bird a lie? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No, the lyrebird, the L-Y-R-E spelled. It's not a liar like it's telling lies.
It sounds like you're saying like, yeah, they can sing. The fake monkey of made-up woods. The lyrebird. It's like, okay, these don't sound like real creatures.
The pumpersnickelbird of Athelschnapton. It can, you could look it up online.
I think you're right, yeah.
It can imitate a chainsaw. It can imitate...
I know, okay.
It can. We've watched it. We've done it on the podcast before. It's insane.
It once impersonated President Obama so accurately that it opened up reinforced steel doors in Area 51.
There's a bird going, let me be clear. And then in the next breath, it's like, doing a chainsaw. It can do anything. It can do it all. It's got range.
Yeah.
Parrots can talk.
Yes,
I think they can sing. They can whistle. They can do human speech. So
yeah,
maybe
that's
they
true.
can sing.
So it's not too crazy. I mean, this example is maybe a little bit crazy. Apparently, when the jackalope is being pursued by a group of hunters, the creature will often cry out, "There he goes! Over there!" in an attempt to send them down the wrong path. Which I love, because in my head they're like chasing him down, and then they go through the bushes, and the jackalope just entered the bushes, but now there's just a guy reading a newspaper with like a mustache, and they're like, "Sir, have you seen a little rabbit with horns around here?" And it's like the mustache is kind of already slipping off the rabbit's face, and it's like, "I think he went that way," kind of pointing with his horns. Although my favorite fun fact about the jackalope has to be the common belief that they only mate during lightning storms.
I forgot that.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have no idea why that could possibly be a thing.
Let's not kink shame, all right? Even for cryptids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a, let's face it, it's a cool feature of a cryptid.
Having
it only
sex during
seems
lightning.
funny because they're not that badass on
Yeah.
the face of it. You're kind of expecting that from the Sasquatch or some other like a horrible, terrifying beast.
Right, they only have sex in lightning storms. That's
Yeah.
how intense it is. Although people do say, like rabbits.
So
that is a phrase.
stop swearing.
Yeah, sorry. Well, I had to say the whole phrase to get it out.
You could anyway.
But I don't know. Maybe this is the thing. They look sweet and harmless, but they're like a seahorse. The sex is wild.
No one says that about seahorses. What are you talking about?
In Phasmophobia's Easter event, you'll be able to hunt down jackalopes in-game. You can find these little guys running around. And once you find them, you'll be given the chance of making your game lucky or unlucky depending on how the jackalope reacts to you arriving. I think he can jump a bunch of different directions, like jump at you, jump away from you, etc.
Okay, well, there's a quick tip. If there's a lightning storm,
Stay away!
just stay back.
Because he's going to jump on you.
You know, hopefully he'll have a little do not disturb thing on the hotel room door, you know what I'm saying? So just knock before you open.
I will say, fun fact, if you do want a jackalope to jump towards you in the real world, apparently they really like whiskey. That's another interesting fact about
We're done with jackalopes. Now I understand how you felt when I hosted the case all those years ago. So they like to sing, they're horny, and they love whiskey. They're just my uncle at a wedding. That's what they are.
I mean, the whiskey fact does sound like it was made up by hunters for when they return back home after a long night.
Right.
And their partners are just like, really? What happened to all the whiskey? You guys left with a full bottle. The thing is, the beast likes whiskey, so we have to bring a lot. We brought 3 bottles and we got through the whole thing. We're keeping this town safe from the monster.
He's actually a pretty good guy once you get to know him.
He's actually a pretty cool guy when the thunderstorm rolls around. He's actually pretty cute.
Those tender lips. What did you say? Nothing? Nothing.
Now, while the jackalope in-game appears to be a cute and little harmless guy, it is known to be aggressive in some stories. Local hunters and cowboys even describe it as having telepathic powers.
For sure.
And Phasmophobia have definitely given the jackalope a little more of a malicious portrayal, because although the creature is small and adorable in-game, just like in real life, it does control something in the game called the forest spirit.
Okay.
And that thing is terrifying. Kit, I have a picture of the forest spirit right here so you can see it. Check it out.
Yeah. That's not nice. Not a million trillion miles away from the Onryo that we saw an image of earlier, who kind of looks a bit smashed to bits, let's face it.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about drinking. Pretty terrifying. Kind of a being of the woods in kind of a tunic and ancient dress here, but whose face is sort of twisted into a, almost antler-like head, almost if it's wearing a wooden mask. Bit hard to know what's going on there. It's kind of obscured and dark.
Yeah, I believe it is kind of this dead, rotten spirit that is wearing this wooden mask on its head with 2 antlers kind of twisting out of the wooden mask. But the mask is cracked to reveal that, I don't know if you can see, its face is essentially just a hole with teeth coming out of every direction.
Yeah.
Similar to the Sarlacc pit in Star Wars.
Yes, or the June worm.
The June worm mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool that they're depicting a forest spirit. Now, the forest spirit, I suppose, is a pretty general idea. But it is heavily associated with the paranormal, myth, and folklore. I mean, the forest spirits or the green man, you're pretty much talking about as ancient human folklore as is possible to recount. We're talking 50, 100,000 years of human tales from all around the world recount. It's basically the earliest folklore there is the likes of forest spirits, the green man, often depicted as maybe a human face, but twisted into branches, leaves, these kinds of things. It's crazy and fascinating. It tells us a lot about what it means to be human, that we've always been fascinated with this kind of deity.
Yeah, and back then, life was kind of so simple and chill that the scariest thing we could imagine was a human tree.
Yeah.
Like a tree with eyes and little branch arms. There wasn't really that much to be afraid of.
Yeah. There wasn't economic recessions yet or things like that. It was mostly the tree guy.
Yeah.
No one had a bed yet for there to be monsters under the bed. Again, mostly a guy with branches for ears.
Yeah, therapy at that time was really easy because every single person going to therapy, they were like, listen, I have to tell you about my biggest fear. And the therapist is like, is it a man with tree legs?
Yeah,
and they were like,
did you
yes.
know?
Oh my God. Yeah. And she's like, take 2 of these berries and you'll be totally fine.
They're suicide berries. Kills them instantly.
Yeah, I think this particular design was obviously just done by the team themselves to create this cool character, the forest spirit. Oh, and what's actually extra awesome is we got sent a cool Phasmophobia package with a ton of really cool shit in it. And guess what? One of the items is the forest spirit mask.
Oh, it's hideous.
That's right.
I drop a mother hit Rory.
Yeah, they actually made the mask of the forest spirit. This huge, like, cool moss-covered mask with a cracked face that I believe is wearable too. You can kind of like actually put it on your head.
It has a strap on it. Let's see it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put it to my face.
This is gonna be the stuff of nightmares.
Does that look good?
Yeah,
look
horrifying.
Cool?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's just visually memorize that. If kind of someone starts terrorizing the streets of East London in the coming weeks, and you hear that they're wearing a weird wooden mask.
Yeah, the Woodman.
Might be Rory.
Could be me.
Keep an eye out. Pretty cool, man. Okay, well, there's Halloween sorted, 2025.
Yeah, this is going straight on our wall of cool paranormal artifacts.
Very cool indeed.
They also sent us this cool thing in the package, which is actually a jackalope coin.
Ooh.
Yeah, which has one side the jackalope on it, and it says lucky. And then the other side is the forest spirit's mask and says unlucky. So similar to the game, when you encounter the jackalope, I guess you can flip this coin and kind of decide what your fate is going to be for the day.
Cool.
So I might do that right now. I'm going to see whether or not we're going to get a yes out of today's episode. Treat this thing like a magic 8-ball.
Oh God, this
Let's
can't go well.
All right. Lucky, baby!
Okay.
That's right. We are
Things
heading towards a double yes. Kid, how are you feeling?
Cool. Let me tell you, I mean, great minds think alike because, of course, you guys know on our Patreon, we've got a pretty lucky coin too. So love to see that the team are doing a coin for Phasmophobia as well. Rory, I'm feeling lucky. Thank you for bringing us this awesome case. Thank
you to Phasmophobia.
Yeah, thank you to Phasmophobia. Kind of over the years, we've sometimes do like more of a roundup style investigation into a number of beings, cryptids, beasts. Sometimes it's it's a useful way, especially when maybe one of these beings, that it just wouldn't be a very long episode if we did like an entire episode on it. So it's a really fun way to dive into kind of a lot of connected lore. And what better way to do it than through talking about this game?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're just delaying flipping the coin.
Oh, you want me to flip it?
Well, yeah, I want to see if you're going to be feeling lucky or unlucky about this case.
Oh, I thought you were doing it for the both of us, right?
No, you got to flip it.
You were looking at me like, well, are you still talking?
Flip it. All right. What's your day going to be like, bud?
Rory's got a gun under the table. Let's see. Oh, God. Oh, God.
He got the mask. He got the forest spirit mask. Well, if one of us has to die, I think it's only fair that it's Kit now.
What?
Yep, sorry. The jackalope
thought it was just a game.
Nope. One of us is going to be sacrificed right after this.
I'm DMing a Finnish sorceress right now. So can I get a updated address for you for her to send the beast?
Do I just send the money to your PayPal, hulda@gmail.com? But no, Kit is right. It's always fun to do these kind of episodes where we just investigate a collection of ghosts or paranormal creatures. I think all in all, there are about 24 different types of ghosts to hunt in Phasmophobia, including banshees, poltergeists, jinn, phantoms, yokai, and more. Tons of creatures that we have covered on this podcast.
Yeah.
But of course, today we are just focusing on our 5. Kit, we've reached our end. Which one of today's spirits do you think could be a yes?
I mean, you're putting me in a hard position, Rory, because you haven't. I'll throw you a bone here by saying you know, Rory hasn't had a ton of time for evidence. You know, with such a rip-roaring ride through our beings. It is a little bit of a dead giveaway that we gave the jackalope, for example, a no.
Right, but in the spirit of Easter and reopening the case, which we do sometimes, maybe has your opinion changed over the years?
Right, it's just it's whenever you jog my memory about everything it can do, which is like, which was, what did you say? It can shout, he went that way. To cowboys who are chasing him.
Human. Can speak like a
Don't
human.
love that. Don't love that as evidence. But that's not to say I didn't like a lot of these beings. I mean, it's certainly possible that kind of, I don't know, that any of them are real. What are you thinking?
Yeah, let's jog everyone's memory right here at the conclusions. We started with the Onryo, the vengeful Japanese ghost that comes back and can drop a mother. One more right at the finish line. We also talked about the Deogen, the green mist that comes out of the forest, children's laughter and strange eyes, shadowy figures, and I believe just lures people into the darkness and kills them. We have, of course, the mare, mother of the Alp, who is known to sit on people's chests and ride them into oblivion.
All right.
We also have the Moroi, which is the Romanian vampire. Very similar to a traditional vampire, but of course there are different ways to kill them and deal with them. And they also just kind of wreck the place when they wake up. And then finally, of course, we have the jackalope. Crowd favorite, but we have covered it before and did give it a double no.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I suppose in some sense, the Moroi feels the most realistic to me, because it feels so close to a vampire to me, and we did give vampires, famously, notoriously, a yes on the podcast.
We did, yeah. But maybe it's a little simple. It's something that we have seen before.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to take the lead on this one. I think for me personally, the spirit that I want to hear a little bit more of, because as we just heard, the wrath of these things continues to the current day. I am going to give a yes today to the Onryo.
Okay, interesting, controversial. Well, as I say, I'll give my yes to the Moroi. I feel it's close enough to my previous yes here on the podcast to vampires. But I appreciate your leap of faith into the Onryo. I would say the Onryo maybe, sometimes first is best. I think that was one of the most interesting.
Yeah, and there are a lot more stories and tales about that spirit throughout kind of Japanese history and folklore. That is one that probably could be an entire episode, hearing the cool stories. So who knows? We might come back to that one or any of these. You can let us know which ones you thought were particularly interesting, real, or that you just want us to talk about more in a future episode of TPL. Of course, the exciting news is that if any of this sounds cool to you and you want to check out the game, Phasmophobia, we have a very exciting announcement. We are going to actually be playing it ourselves live over on YouTube on the 24th of April at 8 p.m. BST.
That is right, BST. To our UK homies, that is because we are now post-daylight savings, so we are now in British summertime, I think. But anyway, Google it. Just Google it, see what time. But yeah, 8 p.m.
We're so
UK time.
Yeah. We're so excited. This is the first time that we're going to be playing a video game over on the channel. And what better game for us to play? We are literally going to be paranormal investigators playing a game where you play as paranormal investigators.
It will be a little bit of a party. I think it'll be me, you, and Phil, right?
Yeah, we're going to be all on stream together, hanging out, having a great time. I think I'm going to be in charge of the controls, leading us through the investigation. But of course, Kit will be there as our kind of guide into the world of the paranormal. So whenever, a huge part of the game is like you bring a bunch of shit from your van into a house. Mm-hmm. And by doing different things, you figure out what kind of ghost you're dealing with.
Yeah.
So for example, if you bring a spirit box and you start to hear noises through the spirit box, or you bring a Ouija board and so there's some kind of reaction, or there's a temperature drop, you start to be able to eliminate what other ghosts based off of what is and isn't happening.
Yes.
Until you know what you have to deal with and how to get rid of it.
Yeah, that's actually pretty scientific. We should try that in the real world. Normally we just throw a dart, throw shit at the wall and see what sticks.
Usually we just burn it down and move on.
Yeah, it's a lot quicker.
My paranormal hunting tools are gasoline and a match.
Vitamin G. That sounds like a lot of fun. We did a live stream, if you'll recall, not that long ago. First one in a while, and it was a lot of fun, and we had a lot more people over there than we were even expecting. The chat was going nutty, and it's a really good little way to spend your evening. You can just stick it on even in the background, jump in the chat, see what the community is saying, have a laugh, pour yourself a drink, and investigate the paranormal with us on YouTube.
Absolutely. I have played a lot of Phasmo before, but I am actually quite jumpy when it comes to horror games. So I can assure you it is going to be an absolute mess. Because I think we should like put the volume in my ears really loud. So like I can't even hear anything that's going on in the room around me.
I say we get Rory on a lot of caffeine, get him extra jumpy, and then just to balance it out, we get me like, 6 Xanax, like enough
mellowed out,
to kill a donkey, all right? And so I'm just like, I'm reacting to shit that happened 8 minutes ago. I'm like, rah, let's go.
It's going to be a ton of fun. You can check it out over on YouTube. I believe the YouTube is youtube.com/This Paranormal Life.
Yeah.
It's as easy as that.
Just search it. It should be in the description of this podcast. Actually, if you're on YouTube, hit the description, click the link to YouTube, hit subscribe, hit the bell. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
Or if you're in your podcast app, it's also in the description. Hopefully you can click through to YouTube.
Yes.
Also just a great thing to do regardless of the stream, because we're always uploading to YouTube. Every episode of TPL is now on YouTube. You can watch this on YouTube.
Yeah. So what better way to head there? That is going to be the 24th of April, this Thursday, if you're listening to the podcast when it's coming out, this Thursday at 8 p.m. BST.
Dope.
And of course, if you do want to try the game for yourself, now is a great time to dive in. As we said, the limited time Easter event kicked off on April 17th, so you can hop in now alone or with friends to hunt down the jackalope and defeat the forest spirit.
Yeah, see if you can get it to join you in a sing-along.
So thank you for listening to this week's episode of TPL. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you to everyone over at Phasmophobia. As we said, there's not enough games out there that portray the life of a paranormal investigator and also do such a good job at covering real ghosts and spirits in the real world. So we want to promote that as best we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we can get the word out there. And guys, again, if you need motion capture for the next iteration of the game, maybe the next DLC, I've got a really good robot. I've got a really good, what else have we got? I can really move. I really can. Not just on a paranormal investigation, but just generally in life. I can floss, for one. I think I'm, I don't know, have I got Hollywood good looks? Maybe not. But I think for a kind of darkened environment, as we might see in the game, I think my face could do well, not on a cryptid, all right, on the protagonist.
No, I think like a monster, like a swamp monster or something, actually, could work out pretty good.
What?
Like an old man that time has ravaged.
I would settle for Jackalope. I can sing, I can dance. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, of course, the Easter event in the game is kind of like a buddy cop movie where you've got the jackalope and then the forest spirit, right? And the forest spirit is kind of like weird and gross and creepy. And the jackalope, kind of cute. Jackalope can sing too. And the jackalope kind of tells the forest spirit what to do. So I actually think maybe if you put on the mask,
all right,
I think it was a good idea.
I think we're good.
So if we give you the mask,
Jackalope's got an alcohol problem too, which is that's cool.
Just gotta leave the mask over there with Kit, because I flipped the coin, remember, and I got lucky.
Forest spirit's tall too.
I got lucky, and Kit got unlucky. Cool. So
Jackalope's kind
you're
of
the forest spirit.
Short little piece of shit.
Don't swear right at the end.
It's too late for that.
Thank you everyone for listening to this week's episode. We hope to see you on the 24th of April, this Thursday at 8 p.m. BST, because we are going to hunt some ghosts. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.